back to my channel, guys, and today I have the beautiful Christina from Copy by Christina here. Christina is a past student of mine, plus also a copywriter, and we're here to share her story. So Christina, thank you for being here.
Great, thanks so much for having me.
And we're going to tell a little bit about your story today, and we're going to talk about resilience and the journey that you've gone through. You've seen great success with Amazon, but you've also been through some tough things that you've had to sort of go through in your journey. And we're also going to tell the story of how you also pivoted when you lost your job and what you've been up to. So thank you so much for being here.
Great, thanks.
All right, so before we get into your story, Christina, and how you got here, if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you'll know when I bring out more videos. And yeah, let's get into your story now, Christina. So you came to me for coaching, I think it was in January this year. And I'd love to say my side of it is like an Amazon coach or whatever you want to call it, of how I viewed your product, and then you can take over. So you came to me with a product that is an electronical product, is in beauty. You sell in Canada, and your differentiation was mostly your packaging. Like it was a copy paste with your brand on it, but you did change your packaging. And so you really went against the grain, as in most people, you're based in Canada and most people would sell in America.
True.
You did go for Canada and in an electronic and etc. And you came to me for coaching for your PPC, right? And you had been selling, I think, for just about a month and a half or so, something like that. And we did the monthly coaching. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So when you came to me, I remember looking at your PPC, because your product, I think everyone was priced at around the $39 mark. And then there was this really big brand that was like a well-known cosmetics brand. And
right.
We're selling at like what, $59?
Roughly, yeah.
59, 69.
And then I think it was like 64, yeah.
And then you were priced, I think it was like 59 or something, or 49. What was it?
My starting price was around $52.99, and I did slowly increase. And I think when you and I were coaching, I was around maybe the 69 mark, roughly.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
I think you were less than 60. I think you were like between 50. I think you weren't at 69 yet. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
I might have been, yeah.
I can't remember, but the point is, I remember looking at because I remember you were between the big brand and everyone else's pricing. So I remember looking at your product and being like, oh, like what can I do here? Because there wasn't any major differentiation, but you were selling, like your profit margins were already good. And I remember that I said to you, look, Christina, I'm not a magician, and there isn't like, I can't just make it all of a sudden everything be better, but I have a theory, and like, let's experiment, go with the flow. And you were like, okay, what are you talking about? And then I said to you, we need to put your price up for about $10 more.
And I thought that was crazy.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
But you listened to me and you did it. And you put your price up $10 more. And the logic behind that was I was trying to have you be more expensive than that big brand, right? And for people to understand, I'm talking about like L'Oreal and Maybelline big brand. I'm not just talking about a normal private label big brand. And I wanted you to be at a much higher price point than them, so that not only would your margins be a lot higher, but also we could have that perceived value where people actually believe that your product was a lot better than them. So you listened to me and you did it. You put your price up slowly over, I think, a few days. You put it up $10 more.
Yeah.
I remember you getting to $79. It could have been 69. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And
I panicked.
Yeah. And then I think sales were either normal or they went down a little bit in the beginning.
I feel like they might have dropped just slightly, but nothing to be too alarmed by. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a worry at that point. Yeah.
So I had originally said to you, no matter what, you're going to leave your price like this for a minimum of 4 or 5 days. And no matter what,
Right.
don't be tempted to change it because we need to actually check and see. Sometimes they're just slow days on Amazon.
Right.
And your sales didn't go down. They actually stayed the same and started to go up.
They did. Yeah. I think it kind of like that first day when I had messaged you in panic and was like, I don't think this is a good idea. Like I was really kind of wavering and you were like, just hold strong, see what happens. And then I'd say within the next 1 to 2 days, I noticed an increase in sales. And so I was like, wow, maybe this is okay.
Yeah. And at the same time, we were also working on your PPC.
That's right. Yeah.
You didn't really have like the knowledge that you have today on PPC. So I was
Yeah.
teaching you how PPC, my approach for PPC.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that your sales, you were selling, I can't remember how many units, you could probably come into that, but you were selling, and this is, it's important to me for people to hear this because, you know, I wanted you specifically to come on, not only because of your success and quite quick success, and not only because you went against the grain of what everyone does, but also because of your resilience and because not everything was smooth. And I wanted people to be able to hear that. So we started working on your PPC and your sales went up so much as well that you went out of stock, right?
Yes, I started going out of stock consistently. Yeah.
So part of the issue there was that with selecting this product, although it ended up being a very ballsy of you and it also paid off, it's also quite an expensive product. Like the cost per unit, I think ends up being like $20 or something like that, right?
Yes, that's true. It might even be a little bit more depending on the freight, but yeah.
Yeah. And that's a lot of money that you need for cash flow because this is very cash flow intense. It's like every month or so you've needed to reorder, which has caused you to be out of stock quite a few times, which if you guys don't know, whoever's watching us doesn't know, it can really, really affect your ranking. But you were actually able to regain your ranking very quickly. I think the most you were out of stock was like for like a month, or maybe I'm exaggerating.
No, that's true. The first few times that I was out of stock were not for lengthy periods. I would say this recent time I'm currently out of stock, and this has been the longest, but it's just due to the kind of, the slow from COVID basically. But yeah, I wasn't out of stock for longer than 3 to 4 weeks for the first 3 to 4 times. So yeah. And you're right. I built that ranking back up quickly. I don't know how that happened, but it was great.
I think that a lot of it was, so we were working on your PPC and you even made a post in our group, in the Amazon FBA Alpha group, about, how happy you were with the PPC results. And I came in very transparently and said, it's not that your ACOS has gone down since you and I started. And I want people to hear this because this is true transparency. Your ACOS hasn't gone down dramatically since we started coaching, but your profit margin has gone up dramatically. And your organic ranking went up dramatically because what we did is we found keywords to push you up there where you started getting organic ranking. And so your PPC ACOS may not be, well, it's not bad. You're like at what, an average of like 25, 30, aren't you?
Yeah, that's about right. When COVID first hit, I was seeing the highest ACOS I had ever seen, but it was so normal because, everything was just a little volatile. And then once that stabilized, I was back down to, I think, as low as 22% at one time, which was really great considering when I started selling in December and using PPC, my ACOS was at like 40, 45, 42%. So to maintain in the 20s has been great since working with you. Yeah.
There's got to be people who are going to hear you say 40 something percent. They're going to be like, oh my God, like I wish I had 40 something percent. So I do want to just say that your bids to your sale price ratio like your bids are very low compared to how expensive your product is. So it's not that, like, your click-through rate isn't amazing.
Right. Yeah.
I always had said to you, your click-through rate, because we've gone on the expensive side, your click-through rate is not going to be amazing, but you're still going to make money. Like, you're still going to do well. So you started in December, but it was like half. You didn't really sell most of December. Oh no, you did actually. December you did. You started in November.
I started late November, but my real sales volume started early December. Yeah.
So we've got December, January, February, March, April, May, June is when end of June, we're filming this. You've been out of stock probably for, in that time, 2 full months, maybe? On and off?
Maybe even a little longer. Yeah, I've been out of stock quite a bit.
So before we started this call, you sent me a screenshot. We'll try and see if we can show that. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right there. We'll try it. No, it's not really showing it. But anyway, you've made $64,000 in revenue.
Right.
And in that period of time, which is like amazing. And you've got quite high profit margins there because your product is pretty expensive for what, which is great. But today, just an FYI to everyone, today you sell that product for
$89.99. Yeah.
$89.99. And we could probably get away with $99.99, but you don't want to do that.
I'm scared.
Yeah. I try to push you to do it, but you're like, no, not yet. So probably could though. So I'd like so first of all, well done. Like, I'm personally really, really proud of you. And we didn't actually talk about the fact that you also have worked on selling your product outside of Amazon as well.
I'm trying. Yeah. I think, obviously coaching with you, that's a big part of your business, is encouraging people to get, sell on Amazon as a starting point, but to scale outside of Amazon. So it's something that I am working on. But as you mentioned, the capital issue, it's going to take me some time to get the funding I need to do that. So, yeah.
What would you say your biggest struggle was or is up to now with your Amazon business? Because you have 2 businesses. So what's your biggest struggle with your Amazon business?
It's scaling, and it's the capital that I need to scale. I don't think, I didn't have maybe the best insight when I started about scaling and what really is required monetary wise to scale a fully functioning business that has great potential. And I thought I could just haphazardly throw something online and just sell a few here and make a little bit of money. And when I started really seeing this transition to, great opportunity, that's when I started realizing that you need money to make money. It really hadn't dawned on me the amount of money that I probably needed to scale. So things like reordering inventory and things like that, so that you're never out of stock, I really never considered those things. So, yeah.
That's one of the things we're working on.
Yes.
So part of I really feel like you can really empower a lot of people are going through some tough times right now, including also yourself and certain things. All of us really, because we're filming this in the middle of COVID. And so explain to people what your normal like 9-to-5 job was, and just a little bit about what's happened with that now during COVID.
Sure. So I'm actually a flight attendant. I've flown for 12 years with a major Canadian airline, and never in 12 years had I ever considered that I would be out of employment. I started my beauty brand thinking it would just be a little side hustle and I would always fly. And when COVID hit, I started really realizing that, my job security was a really big issue. And so in effect, I was laid off, which if you're familiar with my Canadian airline, it's WestJet. They really do care about their people, and they had said for years that they would never lay off unless they absolutely had to. So it became apparent to me that our company was struggling. So I was laid off, and that's when I realized that I needed to look at multiple sources of income as opposed to just relying on one position. So it was extremely challenging. I think I was just shocked too. I don't think I ever in my life thought that I would be laid off from, my career, essentially.
So let's tell everyone, because we agreed that we're going to be extremely transparent about everything. And it was really important for me to bring on success stories. Well, I'm saying this, you are a success story.
Right.
And I'm extremely, extremely proud of you, but I wanted to bring on people that are actually relatable to everyone.
True.
And I want to be extremely transparent. So let's talk a little bit about, because you were having the cash flow issues at the same time as you lost your job. And you were sending me messages about how difficult it is, and you're going to have to stop your business, and everything sort of looked at that exact time
grim.
grim.
Yeah.
So let's tell everyone like what you felt, what you were going through, and then I'll pitch in on how you amazingly like took action and started pivoting.
Sure. So, I mean, it was really difficult, obviously. Like being laid off out of nowhere was a shock to the system. And I think I was so used to telling myself I couldn't do things. Even me starting a beauty brand was quite surprising for me. So when COVID hit, it was just that feeling of like, well, like this is it, I guess. Like I'm not going to have a job, but my mindset wasn't thinking just yet about like what to do about that. And so it was tough. The first few weeks, I literally sat on the couch and I watched a whole bunch of like Tiger King on Netflix. And, you and I were still like having like coaching calls, and you were gracious enough with your time to kind of be really supportive, especially your Facebook group was a big help as well. So yeah, it was not a positive period, I guess. It was hard to really see that there could be potential elsewhere for me at that time.
So apart from me, that you had sent me a message saying, I'm going to have to close my business, which you were talking about your Amazon business.
Right.
And I was like, hell no. Like, in my time, I've been selling online for half of my life. Like I was like basically born an entrepreneur. And a lot of people sometimes mistake that and think that I was like, just like born to really rich parents or something. It's totally not true. I was just taught about entrepreneurial from a young age. And I've lived in different countries and done different things in my life. And I've been through situations where I didn't have money. I had goals, but I didn't have money. And I just had to go and be like, well, what can I do? Right. So I come from New Zealand, but I live in Israel. And when I came here, I didn't know the language properly, and I didn't really know what to do with myself. And I've been selling on eBay at the time, and I'd already had, a successful online business in New Zealand selling sunglasses. And when I came here, I was like, shit, what do I do now? And I started waitressing to get by, which for me at that time was difficult because it was something I had never even thought that I'd need to do. And I'm not belittling any job whatsoever. For me, it was just difficult. So I told you about that. And I was like, when I needed money, Christina, I hustled. Right. And I was like, you're not going to give up because you've built, like you're trying to scale this brand. What we didn't mention is we were working on changing your packaging, and we were working on highly differentiating your product. You went and got a trademark, and we're working on just improving and scaling your brand, which is already, I do want to note that your sales actually have per unit. They have actually gone up. We didn't say that.
Oh yeah. My sales have, I would say tripled, if not at a certain point quadrupled. It's been crazy. Yeah.
With all transparency, you also got more reviews as well, and your listing did improve. I have, a lot of it was you and I working together as well, but also your listing did continue to improve as well. But I mean, before you went out of stock, you made $18,000 in sales that month. I think it was like your 5th or 6th month selling. And that was after having ups and downs. You also had a hijacker at some point. Like it hasn't just been a smooth ride.
No.
So I came and said to you, like, we've worked so hard. You've worked so hard. There is like no way that you're giving up. Let's sit down and have a look at like what you can do right now, because you've lost your job, but there's endless amounts of opportunities. Like you need to pivot. You don't lift your hands up and just be like, that's it, I'm quitting. And the good thing about you, and something I really, really love about you, and we will say that during this time you and I have worked together very closely, we've also become friends. And the good thing I love about you is that you listen. Like you listen and you think about something and you actually take action, which I've coached almost 500 people, and not everyone does that. A lot of people have this ego and think that, you know, they know everything and things like that. And you're just, you really do take things in. And I had said to you, let's make a list of everything you're really good at. Right. And
I thought you were crazy.
did. And you're like, what am I good at? And we actually had a great list of things that you were good at. And one of those things was that you had done blogging in the past for your own brand, for other things. And I was like, well, as Amazon grows and in general, as e-commerce grows, the need for content writing is growing, and also for Amazon copyright is growing. Like, why don't you do that as a service? You know, we have my Facebook group and many others that you can also use to promote yourself. And you took action and you actually listened, and I'll let you tell the story, but I'm here to also tell you like how proud I am of you. Within a month of having that conversation, you had already had a website up, and you had actually already done 3 gigs for people from our group, started doing blog writing.
Yeah.
And like, your resilience and your ability to pivot is not to be taken for granted, because you need to be pretty ballsy to make these types of decisions in general. And you have really, like, just, I think from the day I've met you to today, you're like a totally different.
I definitely feel like there's been a huge transformation on a personal level as well as in business, but you know, not to get all corny, I do attribute that with great coaching. Like, the truth is that a lot of these ideas and pursuit of action, I don't think I would have taken if I hadn't had the right coaching behind me. And I really just say that quite honestly. It just never crossed my mind that I could write and get paid to do it, you know? So it was really that conversation that you were like, well, what can you do? And how can you pivot? And how can you monetize? That I thought, like, if Sharon thinks I can do it, maybe I actually can. So.
Because I'd seen your writing, and you're actually really, really good at writing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I feel like I've had friends and family come to me, and I've done a little bit of blogging on the side, and I just never really thought that I could take it to the capacity that it's going right now, right? So it was really encouraging. And initially, like I said, I did think you were a little bit crazy. And I thought, like, what could I possibly be good at? But, you know, the writing has been really prevalent in my life. Just form of communication has been really prevalent. And so I really had to stop and think about it and take what you said seriously. Because I know that you've also helped other people pivot, and other people kind of think about taking a skill set and turning that into business. And so, using that as an example, I just had a moment where I thought, just like my beauty brand, maybe I actually can do this. And for me, I think this is a personality trait. I think you and I've talked about this before, where when I do something, I really am 100% in. I don't typically start and stop, especially in terms of like business and things like that. Like, I might have a little bit of, I might lack a little bit of self-confidence or get nervous, but I really go all in. So after that conversation and lying on my couch and watching Netflix for a couple of weeks, I just thought, you know what, like, I'm going to start a website. I'm going to start like offering my services on Fiverr and just see what happens. And I started noticing that people were paying me for my content, and people were paying me for my writing. So yeah, that's how it started.
And you also had really good feedback. I
did, yeah.
I do one-on-one coaching, and I had sent you some clients as well, and you had, like, you know, only good things to say. And I'd also seen the writing that you did as well. You'd also written a few Amazon listings for some of my clients, and your work was very, very good. So the thing about you that I think is to your advantage here is the fact that you are an Amazon seller yourself, and you are a brand builder yourself, and you do have your own website, and you are building your own brand outside of Amazon. So you understand a lot of things in the back end. You understand how keywords work. You understand how, you know, where the keywords need to be placed, etc. So that is also coming from like a seller background, has also helped you here with your copywriting as well. So.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, having that unique perspective of Amazon, it's relatability too. And it's also, you know, learning that, or from my perspective, I think speaking with you about differentiation was huge as well. Like that's something that you constantly are speaking of with, I think, all of your clients in your Facebook group. And I really started looking at these Amazon listings, realizing that everyone was going for like the same thing, you know? So you can actually differentiate in the writing and really stand out. And I realized that I could use that as an advantage in my own copywriting business. So
that's awesome. And I just want to say, like, before we start wrapping it up, like personally, I'm really, really proud of you. And I think you've just done amazing. And, you know, you were like, when I first said to you, I'd love to have you on, you were like, because, you know, there's people in my group that maybe have made more money, whatever.
Right.
And I was like, and I'm not belittling them in any way or taking away from them, like, well done. But I really wanted you to come on because I know what the goods, the bads,
right.
and how much trust you also had in me as well. And how much, like, you literally did everything against the grain and you were really, really
Sure.
ballsy. And if people watching this knew you, like, you do sometimes have that lack of confidence, but you're like, actually, you do, but like, you're actually like a lioness. You're like, you know, you still really do. Like, I'm just really proud of you as well. And I think what I would love for some people to also take from this conversation, then I'll let you also say what you'd like people to understand from here is, you know, if Christina has the ability to pick herself up at the lowest point, because you were in a bad, like, you know, you weren't like in the
I mean, I was going to close my business.
Yeah.
I really was going to close my business. So yeah.
You were like, there's no way I'm going to be able to find the cash flow for it, blah, blah. And then even if that push came from me, you still did it, right? You still actually went and did it. And you would have never done it if you didn't think that you could do it, because you are very, like, you are actually really good at writing. But I think that it really shows that at times when, because I get messages all day long, right? Good messages, bad messages, depressed messages, happy messages. Like, I'm like a freaking counselor or a psychologist.
Amazon counselor.
General, right? And I love the fact that you were able to take this opportunity and turn it to something else. And at the end, you've now got two separate businesses, from having one that was difficult for you to have the cash flow and having a job. And we will say you didn't hate your job, right? Like, a lot of people. A lot of people come up on here and like just say you 9-to-5 jobs suck and blah, blah. And I'm like never going to say that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of people that actually like what they do and they like doing this on the side. And that was initially what you had meant to do. And look at the end, like in the end, you know, unfortunately you lost your job, but you've now got two businesses. And even if you're just at scale now, or you're just building one of them, like, you know, I'm sure that we'll have you back here in like a year and you're like, I don't know, be like this huge copywriter, like speaking at summits and stuff, you know? I have no doubt in my mind about it.
Yeah.
So what would
think like, oh, sorry.
I was going to ask, what do you like, what is something that you'd like for anyone, whether it's, you know, a woman, a man, anyone who's watching this, who's thinking about selling online, or thinking about, or maybe lost their job, they're lost, they don't know what to do, pivoting, etc., looking in their inner self and finding something else that they can do? Because Amazon isn't for everyone. It is for many, but it isn't for all. But there are many, many things that one can do online. And I think that's what I try and bring out as well. Maybe not on the YouTube channel, but I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. And I do say to people, like, you know, even if it's not for you, let's find something that is for you. And even if I can't coach you on that, it doesn't matter. Just go do it. Like, go learn how to do it. Do it. So what would you like to sort of tell anyone who's watching this that they could take out of this?
Well, I think, like I said this to you before, and I'm not trying to like plug you, but I think a big part of this had to do with the coaching. And in terms of Amazon, there was obviously coaching there, but there was also mentorship in terms of business. And I've realized throughout this whole process that I'm a very creative person, but I needed kind of a kick. Like, I needed that from a mentor that I really respect and valued, whose content was great. And that was you. So I really have to say that I've said this to you before. If I really hadn't done the coaching, I don't know that I'd be here doing what I'm doing. And then the other piece is that, you know, I think it's just so easy for us to live in fear. And it's so easy. We kind of downplay what we're good at, or our creativity. We kind of stagnate those things, or we stagnate certain parts of our personality to please others. And I think opening up these businesses and taking a step forward, I've realized that it's just the step. You just have to take one small step, and then you'll gain the confidence, you'll gain the knowledge. All of those things will come with time. And sure, like you might face adversity, you know, you might have a business close, but it's the mindset that like you can just try. So I think that's something that's really transformed me in this last year, is that why don't I just try? You know, and I know it sounds so simple, but I just think that I had closed that off years ago. I had just, you know, I was flying and I loved my flying career. I don't want people to misunderstand. I really enjoyed the opportunity I have as a flight attendant. It's very flexible, but I felt like I was missing something and I didn't know how to take the step forward. And what I've really realized now is that you just have to put one foot in front of the other. Like it's so basic, but you just have to try. And then the last piece would be surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. Like I feel very fortunate. Your Facebook group is a little bit special to me because it's not like anything else I've come across. I feel like the members of your group are very active and they, you know, they care about you know, others involved in your group and whatnot. So I think, you know, surrounding myself with great mentorship and other, you know, younger women or older women in business that are moving themselves forward in multiple avenues has been also a really positive experience. So all of those things
we have
I
men
combined.
as well, right? Like it's not just women. We have
Yeah, no, and lots of men, and they've been great too. I've actually like had lots of individual conversations with men in your group who are completely supportive and willing to answer questions if they can. Like in terms of your group, it's definitely not just female focused, but in terms of my personal business direction, I've just been able to look up to a lot of women that I've met online. I've really connected and networked with some great women that have been very encouraging, but it's not that it's just women, you know, so.
So I'm gonna be a cheeky here, and I'm gonna say, because you look like you look amazing, especially not that you're old, right? You're my but like I'm 32, and I'm gonna ask you if it's okay if you can actually say how old you are, because it can be confusing. Some people may be like, oh, but she's young. Not that you're not young, but
right.
Christina, you are.
I'm 40. I just turned 40 last December. So, and that's another thing, is that like, it really doesn't matter what age you start at. You just need to start, right? So,
because there's going to be a lot of people who will be like, because you really do look a lot younger than what you are. We probably both look like we're like, I don't know, teenagers, not teenagers.
Yeah.
So it's
I wish.
It's important to also say, like, you know, you're not in your 20s, you're 40, and you're started, you've technically started all over again at the age of 40, and I don't think you've probably been happier. I didn't know you before this, but no. I can see that you're like shining. So
I feel like I've come into my own, and it's been a really great experience to just be comfortable with who you are, right? And that's not always easy for everybody. So yeah, I feel like 40 is a great year.
Cool. So number one, I also want to let everyone know that you're also starting your own YouTube channel. So
that's right.
Let's tell everyone. I'll put it up now so people can see it. Let's tell everyone about that, so they can go watch you about great content writing and anything to do with content. What is the YouTube channel called?
So it's called Copy by Christina, and it's basically going to be copywriting tips, small business tips, Amazon listing creation information, some information to do with Amazon. But like I've said in my first YouTube video, I'm not an Amazon coach. But, you know, tips on blogging and writing in general, I think could be really helpful for small business owners who are just starting out, who are having to do that content on their own. So, yeah.
Cool. So everyone go subscribe to Christina.
Yes.
And your copywriting services, which you do both blogging and Amazon creation and all sorts of other things. Your website is?
It is copychristina.com.
Awesome. Yes. www.copychristina.com. And of course, they can also find you in our Facebook group, which is Amazon FBA Alpha's private label domination. And if anyone is interested in one-on-one coaching with me, my website is www.sharonevan.com, and I'll put a link for that below. Christina, thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. You know that I love you. We've become good friends now, and I really appreciate you coming on. And I'm looking forward to having you back in like 6 months from now. We'll see you like way past 100K. And
It's so funny how you have great expectations or great
I
forecasting.
believe in you. You know, the sky's the limit with you. We've proven it already.
True. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.